Good morning, everybody. We're moving into lesson 3 in module 2, and the I can statement is I can count by fives and ones on the number line as a strategy to tell time to the nearest minute on the clock. So we have seen the clock with some tick marks and we've been counting by fives, but there's little tick marks in between on a clock, and we're going to talk about what those little tick marks stand for. So if you haven't already, pause the video and take some time to pull out a dry erase marker. Okay, we are going to count, we're going to warm up a little bit with a lot of group counting. So I need to, when I'm saying everybody, when I'm saying do it with me, I need you fully saying those numbers with me, fully counting with me. Okay, so starting at the 12, we are going to go to these bold tick marks and we're going to count by fives. Later, we're going to talk about what these little tick marks in the center of each mean. All right. With me, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, stop. So we got to 60 once we got to the 12. So once that minute hand goes all the way around to the 12, we are at 60 minutes or 1 hour. I'm going to show you a time on a clock, and in the corner of your desk, I just want you to write what time it is. So one thing I want to show you is when the hand is long, the clock hand is long, that stands for minutes. And when the clock hand is short, that stands for hours, okay? So the long hand is the minutes, the short hand is the hours. All right. So this first one, our long hand is on the 12, so I call this 0 hour when it's back on when that long hand is on the 12 because I'm not any minutes into the hour, and the short hand is on the 4. Pause for a moment and write the time on your desk. Okay, so what I'm hoping you notice is that this shorthand is on the 4, so that's my hour, and since my long hand, my minute hand is on 0 hour or the 12, I should have 2 zeros right there, 4 o'clock. All right, I'm going to give you one more. Let's see if we can do this next one. All right, the next one shows my hour hand on the 4, and one thing you might be noticing is, oh, it's not exactly on the 4. Well, the minute hand also isn't on 0 hour, and as the big hand starts to go around the clock, the hour hand slowly and slowly starts creeping towards the next hour. So as long as this hour hand is between the 4 and the 5, you're still in 4 o'clock. So we are still at 4 o'clock for our hour. See if you can figure out the amount of minutes. You can pause the video for a moment. Okay, if you wrote 15, you would be correct. And this also is quarter past because, again, if we split our clock into a pizza, once you get to the 3, you are a quarter of the way through your pizza or your clock. Okay. You can go ahead and erase all of that on your board. Okay. The next one says we're going to decompose 60 minutes using a number bond. So I want you to draw a number bond on your desk, and I want you to put up in the total 60 minutes, okay, or 60 min, just put min, and then 2 spider legs, one says 50 minutes and the other one is blank. Pause the video and give yourself a moment to do that. Now, this is really just like a subtraction problem. I have a total of 60 minutes and I need to find out one unknown. Well, I have to take 60 and I have to subtract it from 50 to see how much time is going to go in that other number bond. And when I do that, 60 minus 50, I am going to get, say it if you know, 10. So 60 minutes can be broken up into 10 minutes and 50 minutes. I want to give you a second. I want you to draw a second number bond, and I want you to write 60 again in the top, right next to this one. And then I want you to draw 2 spider legs. Okay. In one of the spider legs, I want you to write 30. Go ahead and pause the video till you have that done. Don't move ahead and fill this in just yet. Okay, so just like we did over here, we have that total 60, and we got to find out what's in that second part of the number bond. And if we subtract 60 from 30, give yourself a moment to write that down. If we subtract 60 from 30, we are going to get 30 as our answer. So we have 30, so 60 minutes or an hour can also be broken up into 2 30-minute sections. And 30 minutes is a half hour. So anytime someone says you have 30 minutes for recess, that's a half an hour. So 1 full hour, 60 minutes, is broken up into two 30-minute sections. All right, let's move on and erase our desk. Okay, and let's move on to our next question, or our next counting. Okay, so we're going to start some serious group counting here. So I'm looking for 100% participation. There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So we're going to count by 5-minute increments to an hour, a half hour, and then a quarter hour. So we're going to count to an hour, so 60 minutes. Then we're going to count by fives to a half hour, 30 minutes. And then we're going to count by fives to a quarter hour, or 15 minutes. All right, everybody with me. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. And if you were using your fingers, you would have had, well, you would have had to stop after 10, but you would have had 12 up altogether. Let's, with our fingers, see how many times we put up a 5 when we count, or let's see how many times we have to count by fives to get to 30 minutes or a half hour. All right, everybody with me, 5s to 30. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Stop. I had to hold up 6 fingers to get to 30 minutes. All right, let's count by 5 minutes to a quarter hour. Everybody, 5, 10, 15, stop. I had to hold up 3 fingers to get to 5 minutes, or when I was counting by 5 minutes to get to 15 minutes or a quarter hour. Okay, the next group counting we're going to do is we're going to count by 7s to 42. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the 7s to 42 for you, and then I'm going to erase some of them to see if you can do the first set from memory. Okay, so all together counting forwards, everybody with me, 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42. Okay. Starting with 7, everybody, 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42. Okay, everybody with me, starting at 7, 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42. Okay, I've replaced these numbers because now we're going to count backwards. Everybody with me, 42, 35, 28, 21, 14, 7. Okay, everybody with me, 42, 35, 28, 21, 14, 7. Everybody with me one more time, 42, 35, 28, 21, 14, 7. All right. Oh, and I need to erase those. All right, this time we are going to do the same thing, but we're going to count by 8s to 48. Okay, so I have drawn the numbers for us. We're going to start forwards, and then I'm going to erase some of the numbers. Everybody with me. The first one will be quick. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. See if we can do the first two from memory. Everybody with me, starting with 8, 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. Okay, everybody with me, starting at 8. See if we can get the first three. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. Okay, this time we're going to go backwards, starting with 48. Everybody, 48, 40, 32, 24, 16, 8. Okay, now we're going to see if we can get these last two here. We're going to go all the way to 8. 48, 40, 32, 24, 16, 8. Okay, we're going to see if we can get the first three. We're going to go all the way to 8. Everybody, 48, 40, 32, 24, 16, 8. All right. Now we are going to do the same thing, but we're going to do one more group count, and we're going to count by 9s to 54. Okay, so starting with forwards, everybody with me. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54. Let's see if we can do the first two. Starting with 9, everybody. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54. See if we can do the first three. Starting with 9, everybody. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54. Okay, now we're going to try this backwards. Everybody, starting with 54, going all the way to 9. 54, 45, 36, 27, 18, 9. I'm going to take off the first two, but in this case, since we're counting backwards, the last two. Everybody with me, starting at 54, we're going all the way to 9. Everybody, 54, 45, 36, 27, 18, 9. Let's see if we can get the last three, starting with 54. Everybody, 54, 45, 36, 27, 18, 9. Okay, moving on to our application problem. So let me read the problem first, and then you can draw. There are 12 tables in the cafeteria. 5 students sit at each table, or 5 students sit at each of the first 11 tables. 3 students sit at the last table. How many students are sitting at the 12 tables in the cafeteria? So just like there's 12 hours on a clock, we're going to represent that with these 12 tables. And just like the clock counts by 5s with the bolder tick marks, each of these tables is going to represent 5 until we get to the 12th table. And that table, we're going to represent what those little tick marks look like. So what you're going to do, you're going to take your dry erase, you're going to draw 12 tables, and then you're going to draw 5 dots to represent the 5 students at 11 tables. When you get to that final table, you're just going to draw 3 dots. All right, take a second to do that. All right, everybody. So once you've had a second, these are not my neatest dots ever. It's a little tough to draw with this tool, but as you can see in the first 11 tables, I've put 5 students, and in this last one, I've put 3. So they want to know how many students are sitting at the 12 tables, so the total amount. So let's count these up. 5, Count with me. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. Now I can't keep counting by fives because I have to count by ones now. So 55 is where I left off. 56, 57, 58. So I have 58 total students sitting in the cafeteria. Thumbs up if you got the same answer as me, that there's 58. All right, we're going to show how this relates, how that number 58 is going to relate to those final minutes on a clock. Okay, so this says use your ruler. Well, we're not going to use a ruler. We're going to just kind of, if you think about like the length of your folder, that's about the length that we're going to draw on our desk. So we're going to draw a line that's about the length of your folder on your personal whiteboard or your desk. We're going to start at the 0 mark and we're going to make a tick mark up to the number 12. So we're going to label the first tick mark 0 and the last tick mark 60. Then we're going to count by fives from 0 to 60 to label each interval. So your number line, I'm just going to show you, is going to look like this. So just like we did yesterday, you start at 0 hour, you go all the way to 60, and 60 means 1 hour, and you're going to label these by 5. So please pause the video, draw this number line on your desk. Okay, we're going to put our finger on 0 and actually put your marker on 0, and we're going to count by 0 to 5. So by ones, okay? So starting with 0, we have 0, 1, draw a tick mark, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm not going to draw another line because the 5 is already labeled for me. So I counted 1, 2, 3, 4 between 0 and 5. So these little tick marks are representing those minutes that are in between 0 and 5. So let's just say that I am getting ready for bed at 7. I'm getting ready for bed at 7:03, all right? And I want to be able to locate that in the number line. We need to know how many tick marks are in between so we can locate that. So starting at 0, 7 o'clock, 7:01, 7:02, 7:03 would be right there. So that is how we get to those minutes in between. All right, keep that number line on your desk. We're going to do a couple more things with it. All right, we could draw all of those tick marks, but we're just going to imagine that they're there, okay? Because that's a lot of tick marks to draw. All right, so we're going to put our finger on 5, and now we're going to count from 5 to 10 by ones. All right, everybody with me, ready? And then when you do it, you can kind of draw on those little imaginary lines as you count. All right, put your finger on your number line on 5. Count with me. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I counted the numbers 6, 7, 8, and 9 between 5 and 10. So we got to just imagine that those little tick marks are right there. All right, so on your number line on your desk, we're going to try and find 58 minutes. So what we're going to do is I have a 50, I have a 55. I know that the number 58 is going to be somewhere between 55 and 60. So I'm going to find where 58 would be. So I'm going to start at 55, and I'm going to say 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. And I found that 58 was right here. So I'm going to write 58 right there on our number line. Make sure you label it as well. Now see if you could find, now that we have 58 labeled, I'll give you one more second to do that. But now that we have that 58 labeled, let's see if we could find another number. Let's see if we could find 52 minutes. So I know that 52 is going to be somewhere between 50 and 55. So I'm going to count 51, 52, 53, 54. Oh, and 52 minutes was right here. I'm going to make that a little bit longer, and I'm going to write 52. All right. So that's how we can tell time using those smaller tick marks. All right. Once you have 52 and 58 labeled, and you see where that is on your number line, go ahead and erase just those tick marks and numbers. Don't erase the number line. We're going to leave that on your desk. Okay, they just did this part for us, that part that we already did. So let me just through here. Okay, I believe we are all done with this problem set. So with this lesson. So what you're going to do, oh, never mind, forget what I said. We have one more to do. If I arrive to school at 7:37, let's find that time on our number line. So we're going to label 7 a.m. at the 0 hour, which is right here. Okay, so 7 a.m., that's our 0 hour. And the 60 minutes, that would be our next hour. So the hour that comes after 7 is 8. So I'm going to label that by 60 minutes, I'm going to put 8 o'clock. So make sure you shouldn't have to redraw a number line. You should still have that on your desk. And 8 o'clock, but do put 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock. Now, I arrived at school this morning at 7:37 a.m. Let's find that time on our number line. So I know that 7:37, let's just look at the number, let's just look at the minutes, 37. That's going to be between which two numbers? Why don't we pause and see if someone can answer that question? Which two numbers on the number line is 37 going to be in between? Okay, if someone raised their hand and said, well, it's going to be in between the 35 and the 40, you'd be correct. So let's draw those tick marks. 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. All right, so I am now able to label 7:37 because I have 36, 37, and I can kind of draw right here 7:37. All right, so that's how we use those minute hands to label a time that doesn't end in a 5 or doesn't end in a 0. We use those tick marks that are in between. Okay, and then when it says which units should we count by to get to 7:37? Well, we're not going to count by 5s to get to 7:37. We are going to count by 1s. And this says how many 5s and how many 1s. All right, well, let's see how many 5s it took us to get to 7:35. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Okay, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That was 7 5s and 2 1s. Okay, so when